Hello and welcome back everyone to this live demo session on ABAP on Cloud come RAP, so-called RESTful Application Programming Training with SAP, BTP and S4HANA on-premise. In this live demo session today, we are going to talk about the motivation for ABAP on Cloud and motivation for RESTful Application Programming. We will understand who is this training for, and we will also talk about what we will be developing going forward, how would the development would look like with new RESTful application programming model on S4HANA. Thank you so much for joining this demo session today with me. My name is Anubhav and I have total 18 plus years of experience working with latest SAP technologies like ABAP on Cloud, SAP Business Technology Platform, RESTful Application Programming Model, S4HANA, UI5 and Fiori, Analytics Cloud, and many more. I will be completing this training in next 30 hours and going to take you through the entire journey of RAP and ABAP on Cloud. Starting with our demo session, what is our agenda for today? Our agenda for today's session is understanding who is this training for, what's the motivation for ABAP on Cloud and RAP, the benefits of RESTful Application Programming Model, followed by a live system demo with a demo scenario. So let's understand who is this course for. So if you are Imani Jackson as an ABAP consultant and would like to embrace the change in the technology to make your ABAP code run on cloud or use RAP with CDS data model in cloud, this training is going to help you. If you are Macros, who is a solution architect and your company is demanding you to explore SAP BTP and options to run ABAP code on cloud, as well as extend S4HANA solution, which is S4HANA Cloud or S4HANA on-premise, with existing ABAP skill sets in your team, or to build new innovative solutions with new RAP programming knowledge in the system, then this training is also going to help you. If you are Aishel, who is a Scrum lead and wants to understand how BTP can help your company to transform your company to a digital journey and increase the adoption of your ABAP workforce on BTP, this training is also going to help you out. Finally, if you are Neil Sord, who is an SAP consultant and would like to build amazing Fiori application with Fiori elements and exploit the full potential of SAP HANA and how to build optimized best practice applications on top of S4HANA, this training is also going to help you. So if you are one of these developer personas, the training is certainly going to help you out. Moving on, let's understand the evolution of ABAP, an evolution of SAP systems and its architecture, and where does the SAP BTP or ABAP on Cloud fits into the big picture. As you know, the so-called three-tier architecture in the world of SAP, we have SAP ECC system, powered by SAP NetWeaver, which is SAP's technology platform for building applications in the world of SAP, which works on any database. It is a successor of the solution SAP introduced in 2015, a solution called S4HANA. So S4HANA is available in two flavors. One is S4HANA on-premise and one is S4HANA Cloud. S4HANA on-premise has a yearly release cycle. However, S4HANA Cloud is a quarterly release cycle, which offers us new features and functionality every quarter. Starting 1909 version of S4HANA on-premise and starting 1908 version, which is August 2019, there was a radical change happened in the underlying infrastructure. And that's where SAP introduced this so-called ABA layer. This ABA layer is now supporting a new programming paradigm for ABAP developers to build HANA optimized native application utilizing CDS approach is called RESTful Application Programming Model. This programming model helps you to focus more on your business rather than the common coding practices. It provides a golden path for your company to transform your journey with ABAP skill sets to the cloud as well as build on-premise solutions. Together with that, SAP released this ABA layer in their technology platform called BTP. So nowadays, you can also run your ABAP layer alone on SAP Business Technology Platform, which is a platform as a service, where we can run and build ABAP solutions using REP programming model into the cloud. And that's our main use case of this training. We will focus on the right side of this diagram, where we will create our BTP instance. We will understand what is SAP BTP, what is ABAP on cloud, and how to use REP programming model to build custom applications or to extend your existing S/4HANA solution into the cloud with the help of API Hub. Moving on, let's understand the benefits of REP and ABAP on cloud. The first benefit of REP programming model is its completely Fiori user experience. You get a out-of-the-box Fiori app generated into the system, and by enriching also the Fiori specific codes and annotations, we will be able to design amazing Fiori application with a consistent user experience. The second benefit of REP is to have a robust programming model where you can utilize your ABAP skills to develop cloud native applications which can run out of the box on SAP BTP. You can then deploy them on SAP BTP Cloud Foundry environment to offer your end users to access these applications anywhere, anytime, and any device. The third main advantage is to leverage the power of SAP's in-memory database called HANA, where most of the code is pushed down deeper into the database, and only the final result is sent to the ABAP layer, helping you to build both analytics as well as transactional application on a single database. Last but not the least, it is cloud extension ready, which means if you want to do any extension of your existing solution without contaminating your core solution, you can actually build applications outside your stable core. This is the motivation of using ABAP on cloud and the REP. Remember, the REP programming model is also available with S/4HANA on-premise as well. So learning this course, you're not just learning the ABAP on cloud capability, but you will also be able to build applications for your on-premise environment with proven golden path. Moving on, let's talk about the kind of solutions or the development paradigm with REP. So there are two types of offerings which REP can give you and allows you to build applications for your company. One is complete REP-based application from scratch, which is more of a greenfield implementation, where your company wants to build a solution directly into the cloud or on-premise using the RESTful Application Programming Model and EML, where we have two types of scenarios. One is called managed implementation. A managed implementation is where the REP framework will generate most of the logic to perform the commonly used operation like CURD queue. However, in unmanaged implementation, we have flexibility to use our existing business logic with in conjunction with the RESTful application programming model to design and develop a completely new application by leveraging existing business logic. So in this training, we will be learning also the entity manipulation language with REP as well. The second type of solutions which we can build with REP is to extend our existing S/4HANA solution as a side-by-side extension. We will learn in this training how to use API Hub to explore existing APIs and utilize them to build a side-by-side extension out of S/4HANA. This will be the motivation for our training going forward in coming classes. So, are you ready for the demo? What we got you for today? So in today's session, I will show you how do you create your first REP application, wherein we will create a application including the data to create sales order. We will be able to understand how to create, edit, and delete an existing sales order in the system. And finally, we will run this application directly into the cloud. You will get a glimpse of REP in this session today, but more detailed sessions will start from tomorrow, including server setup. Remember, it's a demo session. So you might not understand some parts of this today's session, but as and when we progress further, you will be able to understand and digest all the information together. We will also cover in this training one session with basics of CDS, AMDP, and ADD tool. Because some of you are directly coming to this training without attending my ABAP on HANA training. So this is why we need to understand the basics also as part of this course. So let me go ahead and show you what is our design for today's session. So we will be creating a database table in SAP ABAP on Eclipse development tool. Then we will create a CDS view on top of it, where we will generate a managed implementation. A managed implementation will automatically generate all the common CURD queue functionality for our app. Followed by that, we will expose it as a service, as a OData service, to create a service definition and service binding. Finally, we will have our Fiori user experience application to test this functionality of sales order. This sales order table is going to be a custom database table with very bare minimal data. In coming classes, I will show you more complex data models being created and worked along with RAP application programming model. So let me switch over to the system. So this is the system what we have got today. I will explain you in the next episode how did I got this system access in my computer, and how can you also get a free ABAP server for practicing this entire training. So let me create a new package to start fresh, and I will name it as Z rep demo 2022, and I will click on next to create a brand new package in my system. So let me just say finish, and there you go. You can see a new package has been created over there. Now in this package, I'm going to create a new database table. So let's go ahead and create a new database table. So we search here database table. If you are new to this tool, so-called ADD tool, don't worry. In the next episode, I will show you how to set up this tool free of cost in your personal computer. So let's create a database table, Z 2022 SO sales order table, master table. We will, for easy understanding, we will not create any line item table. We just create a header table with the basic data. So now I'm creating a database table in my ABAP on Cloud instance. So I'm going to have now a key with, let's say, sales order ID, and let's call it as abap.integer4. You can use control space. Then I will have customer name, abap.character 256. I can have a gross amount. Let's say abap.currency 10,2. I will also have a currency code. Just like you create a typical table in ABAP system, we are also doing the same thing. I will also put sales organization. Yes. So now you can see it's giving me a error here to provide a reference field. As you know, in SAP, when we create a database table, we always need to specify a reference key and reference table. So we just click here and we just double click here to generate the code automatically to fix this. And you see, this is a concept called annotation, which we use very heavily in case of RAP programming model also to define the necessary dependent properties. So in this case, we are specifying that this currency code field of the same table will act like a reference field. I will just activate my database table. And that is it, the step number 1 as per our design. as a next step, we will just build a CDS view on top of this. So let's create a CDS view. And I will go to create a core data and service data definition. And let's choose here Z2022 sales order CDS. This is our data model, or so-called virtual data model for our application. So if I would have had here multiple database tables like order header and order items, I could have joined them in this CDS view via the concept of association. If you are new to CDS view, I would recommend either you can go and take my ABAP on HANA training, or just hold on in this training, and I'm going to cover the basics of CDS view in our first episode, which is tomorrow. Yeah. So let me just now add also our table name, sales order, and add all the fields over here. Fantastic. So this creates a definition of my CDS, or so-called core data and service. I will just activate the CDS view now. So once we activate the CDS view, we now have to create a behavior definition. So this is where the wrap begins. In the wrap, there are two types of definitions which we can create: managed and unmanaged. So if you want the wrap framework to generate all the necessary create, update, delete operations for our entity sales order, then we use a managed implementation. But if we want to control all the create, update, delete with our existing business functionality, then we would perhaps go with unmanaged implementation. So for demonstration purpose today, I will use the managed implementation of rep. So let's go ahead and create now a new behavior definition. So we can just right click on CDS view, and we can choose here an option called create new behavior definition. I will choose here the managed definition. Let the framework manage everything for me. And of course, in order to do that, we need to also mark a special keyword called root view, because this will act like a special object for my RESTful application programming model. In the episode number 3 of this training, I'm going to explain you the entire programming model with its nitties and gritties, including its underlying architecture and the concept of business object in RAP. But for time being, for simplicity, let's go ahead and create a behavior definition to give you a end-to-end idea and demo. I click on next and finish. And this generates a behavior definition, which tells me that what will happen when somebody tries to insert the data using this table. So it is going to insert the data into my database table, and it's going to use the key of this table as a criteria to also lock the table entries. You can see there's a small error which is coming. It is saying that the field marked as read only and the primary key of the persistent table is different, and also the currency code must be matched. So basically what is happening is, in our CDS view, we have a couple of fields here with underscore. Yeah. And the alias name is not with underscore. So system is unable to map these fields to my database table from my CDS, because the rep behavior definition is generated based on the CDS. So CDS field name are different than the database field name. So we need to, or we must need to provide something called a mapping information between them. So let me provide a mapping for our database table Z02022 SO, and we will provide all the mapping details over here, or we can just put here mapping. And we will now specify the fields which needs to be mapped with my database table. So this is one field which is having underscore. Then we have sales org, gross amount, So you can use control space to provide the mapping. Yes, perfect. And now we can save and activate our behavior definition. Fantastic. So you can assume that all the necessary code which we used to generate in the past ourselves in ABAP to insert, update, delete data in this table is now auto-generated by system for us. Fantastic. As a next step, we will just go ahead and create a service definition and service binding. So let me right click and create a service definition on top of the behavior definition. So I'm going to right click and say new other service definition. And we will just give Z2022 service definition sales order. Click on next and provide my entity name, which is nothing but the CDS name. So let's put our CDS name, which we created a few minutes ago as an entity as sales order. Something more meaningful, which our Fiori developer can understand. And the last step is to create a service implementation, which exposes this as a SICF node as a OData service out. So those who are new to OData service, we will cover a complimentary session for you on basics of OData. So this is an OData service which will expose our ERP data over the HTTP protocol. So let's create a service binding. Service binding, sales order. And the purpose of this consumption is for user interface. We click on next and finish to generate a service binding. And finally, we will just activate this service binding. So remember, activation would not create any OData service. It just creates a binding, but we must have to publish this OData service to get it created in the system. So I will publish now the OData service, and you will see in a minute that the system will automatically publish this as a endpoint. Basically, in the cloud, we are creating an OData service for the consumption of our Fiori application. So if you look at the broad architecture, that we have database table, on top we have data model, then we have a service layer, and finally we have the user interface which will consume this data. This is the new architecture for building applications with RESTful Application Programming Model in SAP. Both on-premise as well as on cloud, we can use this. So let me just click on publish, and it's just generating, and there you go. And the good news is this OData service, you can just test it by clicking service URL, and it's going to launch this OData service for us to expose all the data. So at the moment, we don't have any data in our database table. Hence, you might not be able to see any information when you access this entity set. So if I just check this entity set, you see no data exactly. But now if I just right click and say open Fiori apps preview, yes, I will also see a Fiori app got generated automatically out of the box for us, where I can choose all the columns. And of course, there's no data. So let's create a new record now. And I will just create a new record. So to be able to create new record in the system, we have to add a couple of annotations. So we go back to the CDS view and define a couple of annotations. So our main annotation is called a UI facet annotation, because we want to add these fields, add these fields as a UI fields on the screen. So we are going to create a UI facet as identification facet, and let's call it as label. And then we will choose it as a UI facet. Yes. And now we will add the fields as identification annotation. so that we can utilize this information to enter the data on the screen. So this is my second field, third field, fourth field, and fifth field. So in the same order, you will see these fields will appear on the UI. So I will talk about annotation concept in detail in coming class. Of course, the prerequisite for this training is you should be already good in basics of CDS view and the basic concepts of working with VDM and OData services. So those who have taken my ABAP on HANA training, certainly this training is for you to learn the advanced stuff. Those who have not taken my ABAP on HANA training, don't worry. In the next class, I'm going to cover some basics for you, so you also get comfortable with the concepts of RAP. Okay, so let's switch over back to the Fiori user interface. And now we are ready to create a first sales order in the system. There you go. Nice. So since we have not given any data element, the labels are missing. So perhaps this is my first field, which is sales order number 1. Then the second field is the customer. So let me say SAP. The third field is the gross amount, 1000. Then we do have, let's say, the euros. And finally, we have sales organization 1010. So very rudimentary UI, and there you go. A new sales order has been created. Let me refresh the page and just select the columns. And there you go. You've got one sales order created in the system. Fantastic. At the same time, if you go to the OData service and refresh, you've got one record also created for you. Fantastic. So this is how exactly in a just 30 minutes of time, we are able to create a complete end-to-end application which can insert, update, and delete data into a cloud database with the help of RESTful Application Programming Model. Yes. So this is just a brief demo to make you guys comfortable, make you guys understand what would the flow look like in the future. How can we utilize? Of course, I did not explain too much of theory about the RAP right now. In our coming episodes, we'll talk about a lot of theory to understand what is working under the hood, what is making this entire stuff possible for us end to end. This is something which we are certainly going to look at in coming classes, including all the theoretical aspect of the RAP. Yes. So with that, thank you so much for joining this demo. So if you're willing to join this course, please feel free to send us an email on contact@anubhavtrainings.com. You can also visit us on anubhavtrainings.com. Today was our first session on this RAP training. And from tomorrow onwards, our live classes are starting morning 7 to 8 or 7 to 8:30 a.m. India time on weekends. A little progress each day will add you to the big results because the results will compound one day. Having said that, Anubhav signing out. See you in the next episode. Have a nice day. Goodbye.